recommendation by a nice guy named Edward. I think that's how you say it. Here on YouTube. Very nice guy. Wanted to know my thoughts on the 2014 horror film It Follows. Very, very good movie. Definitely one of my favorites of 2014. Basically a supernatural horror film about a entity that kills you or tries to kill you when you have sex with somebody, or like a sexual encounter. It's a very weird idea, but it kind of has that Ring feel to it. The Ring. Because, you know, when you watch the videotape and, you know, Samara, you know, you'll get the call on the telephone saying 7 days, and then she comes for you on the 7th day, pretty much. In this movie, after you have sex, then all of a sudden this person will start to follow you no matter where you go. And it could be, you know, a girl, it could be a guy, it could be a short guy, a tall guy, it could be anything. And that's how it tricks you. This entity changes its appearance to kind of throw you off. So it could be someone who you actually know, but it's not really them. I think that's kind of cool. Jamie Hyde is her name, but they call her Jay. You know, she's basically had sex with this guy, and now this person is following her. And at first it's a girl. And there's many different types of people. Like there's a girl who's naked, there's just a girl, there's an old woman in pajamas, there's a girl in the kitchen, there's a giant man, which was one of my favorites. There's so many different types of people that start to follow her, but the point is, it's the same kind of entity that keeps following her. No matter where she goes, no matter how fast she runs, that thing will just keep following her. And that thing may follow her, you know, it may take a long time for it to get there, but it still will not stop. And I find that terrifying. Knowing that something's coming for you, but you don't know how far away it is, or what time it's going to be here, or, you know, I just, if you think about it like that, it's terrifying. You know, behind my house there is a cemetery, and there's a creek, like scary forest down there. I have this big fear that if this was somehow real, like I'd just be sitting here and I can just imagine that thing just walking through the forest right now, wanting to come here, and then making its way across the cemetery, and then across the fence, and then up to my back door, and walking up the stairs. Like, that is truly terrifying. That's crazy. I think it's much scarier not knowing what this thing is. I mean, they know a little bit. They know it comes for you when you have sex, and you can pass it on, just like the Ring. You can pass it on. If you watch the videotape, you make a copy, and then have someone else watch it, that will bring it off of you and go to them. It's the same thing with this. If you have sex and this entity is coming after you, all you have to do is have sex with somebody else, and it will pass to that person. In the beginning, after she has sex with this guy can still see this entity, which is odd. He can still see this entity, but the entity is not coming after him. But I think the rule is, if it kills, you know, if it would have killed her, then it would have came after him. So you have to like keep passing it on, and you're never really safe, because what if all these people die? Then it just keeps going. You can't really stop it. This has fantastic music. It reminded me of an old 80s horror movie flick that, you know, has that 80s vibe to it, the music especially. I love the music. When the thing is walking after you, and it's like it has a doom 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 doom, like this really cool tone, and it's really cool. It makes the scene more intense. The cinematography to this movie is mind-blowing. I love the faraway shots and the still shots and the very smooth pans that they do. And like, you'll be sitting there focusing on this person, but then in the background you'll see something coming, like really slow, really slow. One of my favorite parts is when she's in school and she sees this, in the distance she sees this old person walking towards her. No one else is, but this person's walking, this old person, and she starts walking through the halls, and this person keeps following her in the halls. Like, that was one of my favorite scenes. And then there's the tall man when they're in the bedroom and there's a knock at the door. It's her friend, but when she opens the door, there's this tall person standing behind her, and he just goes right through her. There's some really cool scenes in this movie. They did a good job keeping you on your toes for the scares, at least. It was just creepy. It wasn't like cheap jump scares or anything like that, like you're used to in some of these modern day horror films, but it's very subtle creepiness. And like I said, you imagine this thing coming after you. Like, you put yourself in Jay's shoes. What would you do? Where would you go to escape this thing? What would be your plan to try to hide? I mean, I guess you could hide, but does that mean this thing would lose you? It always finds you. Like, if you were to get in your car and drive state to state to state, that thing would probably still follow you. It would just, who knows how long it would take. And I think that's worse. I think it's worse not knowing when that thing is going to be there, because it would catch you off guard. I think it's better knowing where it is and how far away it is. It's terrifying. It's terrifying to think about that. It just is. That's a really, really cool concept. They get, they get 2 thumbs up for me for that. That's just a really cool thing. It had a $2 million budget, and it made $23 million at the box. I guess there are a couple movies that it does kind of take inspiration, like The Entity from 1982, which features an invisible thing, and Forbidden Planet from 1956, which I haven't seen. The science fiction film that features an invisible assailant that is referenced, and yeah, it is referenced here. Right there, you can see in the car they're about ready to do it. But I think the good cinematography, the acting, the cool music, all that together makes this a really creepy experience. It really does. Definitely one of my favorites from 2014 for sure. I got this image in my brain right now that there's somebody in the street walking really slow up to my house. And then I see Freddy standing there, and I'm thinking he's following me now. I gotta put him in the closet. There's no way I can just sit here and go to sleep and wake up to that after reviewing this movie. No, I can't do that. I'm scared.